and I'm going to run you through the Gallium Data tutorial for Postgres. This is something that you can run on your own machine, but I'll just show you how it goes. So the tutorial requires Docker to be installed. So the first thing we do is make sure that Docker is running and happy. Then we are going to create a Docker networks that we're going to be using for our containers. And then we're going to start 3 Docker images. Now, there are easier ways of starting 3 Docker images, like Docker Compose, but we're just going to start one at a time to make sure that you understand what's going on. So the first one is a Postgres, just plain Postgres image. The next one is Gallium Data itself. Now, keep in mind that if you're running this on your own machine, it's going to take a little bit longer because you're going to have to download the Docker images. And then the third one is a database client called pgadmin, which is going to allow us to look at the database and run queries. So we now have 3 Docker images running. The pgadmin, the database client here, that's talking to Gallium Data, which talks to Postgres server. So let's take a look at the database. I'm going to log in here, and I can sort of explore what's going on. There's schemas and tables and whatnot, just like in any other database. So that's all good and happy. Let's continue with this tutorial. So now we're going to run a query just to see all our products. So I'm going to open a query window, run this, run the query, and there we go. So this is data from the database. So far, Gallium Data has not actually done anything. But notice that some of these products have a status of discontinued. Now, let's say we don't really want people to see that. We have an application that really shouldn't see discontinued products, and we can't change the application. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go to Gallium Data and activate a filter. So this is Gallium Data, the UI. And here is a filter that has been predefined for us as part of this tutorial. I'm going to activate it. I'll take a quick look at the code. It's just a few lines of code, and it's going to change the SQL query to filter out discontinued products. So if I rerun this query here, suddenly I can see that discontinued products have become invisible. Notice that this is still the same query. Nothing has changed on the database. Nothing has changed on the database client. So that's kind of the magic of Gallium Data, that it changes the way the database behaves and the client behaves without changing either the database or the client. Now, there's a lot that we can do here. For instance, we could just say, well, I don't really like it when people retrieve too much data as part of a query. So I'm going to add automatically a limit. And if I go back here and I'm getting 21 rows here, if I rerun my query, suddenly I'm only getting back 15 rows. I could also say, hey, you know what? I don't want people to query this table on Sundays for some reason. So let's just add this here, publish this little bit of code here, rerun the query, and this time I get back an error message. So there's a lot of flexibility. You really can do pretty much anything you want to the traffic going from the database client to the database server, but also the traffic coming back from the database server back to the client. So let's run this little query here to get a list of our customers. All right, so we've got a bunch of customers. Let's say we don't really want the full first name of our customers to be sent to our database clients. So let's go back to Gallium Data, and we have a filter here called Modify Customers. I'm going to activate it now. And if I look at it, it's really, really simple. It's just a single line of code that just changes the first name of these customer rows. So if I rerun my query here, you can see that now I'm only getting the first initial of these customers. Again, there's a lot more I could do here. There's really very little limit about what I can and cannot do. For instance, if I wanted to say, oh, I don't really want people to see my customers in Denmark, I could add that to the filter here. And notice that I have a customer here in Denmark. If I rerun my query, though, this customer is gone. It's now completely invisible. I can insert rows, I can change, I can, like I said, pretty much do anything. So that's the end of the tutorial. What you've seen here is that Gallium Data allows you to really take control over the traffic between the database client and the database server and change it to pretty much to your heart's content, which allows you to do some pretty powerful things that would be very difficult to do without something like Gallium Data. Once you're done, we certainly encourage you to play with it, go through the documentation, run the tutorial yourself. Once you're done, if you want to get rid of everything, just run these commands here. It'll erase everything. Check us out at galliumdata.com, and thanks for watching.